We lived on the edge. We were a little dangerous. And it made us better because we pushed each other. That competitive edge to become more, to become better, to become stronger, to become faster. And I think we're missing that in the participation trophy culture that we've built. What's going on, gentlemen? This is the Better Man channel, where we see obstacles, impediments, challenges, and opportunities to grow. And we don't just run into the wall and say, oh, poor pitiful me, and turn around and go back our way. We find a way to climb over it. We kick it down, burn it down if we have to, dig under, go around, whatever it takes to stay on course. Because life in general is an obstacle. We're all fully aware that things happen and not all things go according to plan. And I've been thinking upon this one subject line for the past couple of days and expressed a little bit of it in the last episode, that life doesn't encourage us to be this emotional beings that go stand out in the rain, the cold rain pouring down on us, and say, poor pitiful me, and shiver to death. To take no action is to die. Life rewards those who, instead of poor pitiful me in the cold rain, say, what can I do to build fire? What can I do to build shelter? What can I do to overcome this situations of life so that I can not only survive, but thrive? Think about it. All successful people have thrived, and we often neglect to look at the difficulties they overcame. We think they were an overnight success. We fail to realize the hours they put in, the failures and the setbacks that came along with their success. There's going to be impediments in our life, and we have to start to be aware of those so that we can begin to combat those, instead of being the emotional entitled that stand up with their hands in the air saying, why me? Why is this happening to me? We must change this. You change it by taking action. You change it by building a fire, building shelter, combating the conditions of life. And therefore, I promise you, not only will you be rewarded, but people begin to take notice of that. You become a valuable resource because people see you as someone that doesn't stop when roadblocks happen. You overcome them. You persevere, and you make something out of that deplorable situation that others seen as a setback, and it stopped and prevented them from moving forward. We say, hey, man, that's just going to make me stronger. That's another adversity that's going to enable me to bring some new tool sets into my toolbox and to become a more well-rounded person that's able to combat the harsh conditions of life, man. I've said it and I'll say it again. Life is hard. We've got to become harder. And the more prepared we are to face obstacles and the impediments that will arise, the better off we are. Other people that don't challenge themselves, that don't go out there and face the adversity, they're always going to fail. They're always going to be, poor pitiful me, why is this happening, when tough situations come up. I've been there. We've seen it in others, man. It's, if you're not prepared for the harsh realities of life, it'll slap you in the face, and you'll just want to go get in that fetal position, whimper and cry. But that's not who we are becoming. Keyword there, becoming. We all have setbacks. We all have flaws, but the meaning of life is to become something and to continue in this perpetual process of becoming more, becoming better. How can I advance in this area? What can I do in this area? And so there's going to be impediments in our life, our financial life, our health, our spiritual, mental health, our life, our relationships. So the question becomes, what is my impediments? What are the roadblocks in my life? Because if we're not aware of those, then there's nothing we can do about it. We wonder why we're broke. We wonder why we're overweight. We wonder why we're a jackass and no one wants to be around us. It's because we haven't faced the roadblocks in our life. And my finances, if I'm spending 100, 200, 300 bucks a week on gambling on my favorite sports team, if I'm going to the casino, if I'm just wasting it on food, then why am I broke? Because I have this roadblock in my way of this gambling, this pleasure seeking. I want it now, instead of investing, saving. Why am I 30 pounds overweight? Because I eat out every damn day. I go to fast food and this processed food junk, and I'm placing that in my body. My impediment is this addiction more or less to this food, this craving for, I want fast food now and I want that taste, that incredible taste. Instead of taking the time to cook your own food, maybe a little more organic and natural food to place in your body. We wonder why we have horrible relationships. We won't spend 5-10 minutes meditating or contemplating or getting in that still silent place so we can gather some thoughts or just be thoughtless for a moment. Many of us have that constant, bombarded, negative, incessant thinking. We've got to begin to recognize the roadblocks in our lives so that we can overcome them. And I'm the first to admit that many times when a roadblock comes, I wonder, why is this happening? Why? Instead of, okay, what can I do? How is this going to influence me to be a better person? How is this going to enable me to be a stronger person? Is there something I can learn from this? There's always going to be roadblocks. And the safe bet is to say, oh, well, that's meaning I shouldn't go any farther. I'm just going to turn back around or stay here, stay stagnant. It's time that if we want to progress, if we want to become powerful, sovereign, absolutely in control of our lives, we've got to be willing to take risk. Man, as a kid, I grew up with cousins and we were always pushing each other. Who can climb the highest up the tree? Who can jump the farthest? Who can challenge themselves? We lived on the edge. We were a little dangerous. And it made us better because we pushed each other. That competitive edge to become more, to become better, to become stronger, to become faster. And I think we're missing that in the participation trophy culture that we've built now. No one's willing to challenge themselves. We've all settled for mediocrity. As a man that wants to be valuable, as a man that wants to be strong and powerful and of use, not only to self, but to community, to family, to friends, we have to push our boundaries. We have to be willing to live dangerously in order to overcome that obstacle. And by dangerous, I don't mean reckless, but we know what we're capable of when we push the boundary a little farther, and we extend our capabilities. We extend ourselves by pushing the boundaries. And that's a valuable resource. People come to admire those who push the boundaries in a wise way, right? We're not just going up there and saying, oh my God, I can go skydiving without a freaking parachute because I'm some tough guy, prideful, arrogant asshole. But we do begin to push the boundaries a little and a little farther, and we extend ourselves a little farther. We realize that obstacles are only challenges that enable us to become stronger. And it's in this strength that we become the men that when it's pouring down cold, chilling rain and the others just want to hide and not exert themselves, and they end up perishing. It's in those situations that we rise, that we thrive, that we say, okay, we need to build fire. We need to build shelter. We overcome the harsh conditions of life, and in return, we become harder, and life begins to reward us because we are of value and we are scarce, and people come to admire that and hold that in esteem. You want to become a better man, acknowledge your roadblocks in your life, begin to remove those. We encourage those incremental steps toward progress, but we never really talk about the incremental steps of removing the roadblock or facing it or acknowledging it. We just want a successful life. Today I'm going to go run. Today I'm going to eat better. Today I'm going to invest my money. But we fail to recognize the roadblocks that are actually hindering us from doing that. So we'll do it a week, we'll do it 2 weeks, and then we fail because we haven't confronted that giant roadblock that's right in the face or in front of us, that's always going to be present until we recognize what we need to do to overcome it, so that we become those men that build the damn fire, build the shelter. We overcome the conditions of life. We face them. I love you guys. You'll hear from me next episode.